What is up, my dudes? It is another fantastic day here in Central Florida, and we're going to be tying up a classic bonefish pattern. This is the M.O.E, or Mother of Epoxy, by Harry Spears. Right now it's a little bit blurry. Let's see if we can't get it to focus. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. So we're going to start off. I'm going to be tying this on a number 2 hook today, but typically I tie mine on a number 4. This is just for demonstration purposes only. I would not be using this fly as a size 2. It's too large for the bonefish I've targeted. Start off, get a few wraps. Get it back to the point of the hook. Give it a few wraps back. Now, I will be using mono eyes today, but if you want your fly to sink and get down to the bottom faster, of course you can use dumbbells, but for this fly specifically, I'm going to be using mono eyes. So, tie that in. Of course, with the mono eyes, you got to be a little bit more gentle than you would with dumbbells, so just keep that in mind. Make sure it's nice and centered. Now we're going to make sure you cut your thread long here. Thread long, go up through the eye of the hook, come over, and then I'm going to turn. I like to do this way. I mean, you don't have to, but turn it 90 degrees, hit it with that Gorilla Glue gel, and then take your thread, hold it on there, let it set for a second. And the reason you want to let it set is so that way your thread locks onto that eye and you're not all over the place with it. Let that sit on there. That's why I like this gel, because it dries so fast. It's not like one of those that's going to take forever to dry up. Same thing with the other side. We're going to come in, bring our thread, come it over the top, and press it down. And then while that's drying, if you do this gently, you can accomplish it. If you can't do it gently, wait. Come back through the eye of the hook and pull it tight, and then you've now got your diamond shape. So what you're going to do with this diamond shape, you're going to give it one full wrap, and then half hitch, half hitch, half hitch, and I just give it 3 for good measure. And I'm gonna come in, snip this thread. We're gonna drop it in there like so. Now, we're gonna take our Solarez medium resin. We're just gonna come up in here and we are going to lay it up and try and fill those gaps. It is important that if you're using a thinner viscosity like medium, that you get on it quick, because if you don't, well, it's gonna have a really ugly fly. All right, now that side's done, and we'll come back and we'll hit the top. And what I will do with this afterwards is I will paint it as I see fit. So, and you will see an example of that here in a second. All right, so after your fly is dried, the nail polish is no longer tacky, you can come back in, you're gonna clamp it in your vise, and this is back to the number 4 hook. I'm gonna come in the back, give it some wraps, of course clip it off. Almost lost my thread there. And then we're going to take, I pre-cut these, but you know, I do about a 3-inch piece of crystal flash. I take 2 of them, and I will take those, fold them over the thread, and the reason why I'm tying them so far back on the hook is you want these to kind of stick up a little bit, because especially if you're using some dumbbell weights on your fly, this is going to make your fly sit with the eye that way, and your hook point's going to ride up. All right, so now we're going to move on to the small feather portion of this. I also go through and do this prior to ever starting the fly. Just pluck off the little feathers on grizzly marabou. For this fly, I'm going to tie it with some orange grizzly. Let's see here. There we go. Get to their similar in size and shape, fluffiness. Get in there. Get back in there. I don't want to go home. And then I like to do mine with the curve of the feather going out. That way it's kind of flared out and it's not all bunched up and covering my crystal flash. But you do it how you see fit, for sure. I'm going to tie in that first one. We're going to take and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Oop. These little feathers, man, I do that with them every time. We're gonna wrap it till they're about even. Now, what you should see when you look at a top cross section of your fly is this. This is what it should look like. If it doesn't look like that, you're doing something wrong. So, next we're gonna take our full-size marabou. Of course, this is going to be dependent on your region that you're fishing, and I'm going to be fishing for bonefish down on Isla Morada. According to the guides there, they're saying that tan is the best color, so I'm going to run in with some tan marabou. I'm going to come in, find where it gets thin, so you know, somewhere right about in there. And remember, by this point, you shouldn't have a ton of space left on your hook, so you don't need a ton of marabou to palmer in there. So we're gonna do that, and then I wrap back up to the head or body, whatever you'd like to call it. And we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping this thing around. I'm gonna actually move that out of the way. Just make sure that you're getting pretty even coverage with your marabou. Okay, you definitely don't want to have big gap in there when you're done. This is the part where I think it gets fun. So, wrap. And honestly, when it comes to wrapping marabou like this, I just wrap all the way until the tip is pretty much the same length as the remainder of the feathers. And this is kind of the part where it's up to you. If you really want a big fly that does some crazy presentation, this is definitely capable of that. I know with what I'm targeting and where I'm targeting it at, they see a lot of anglers every single day. So I'm actually going to wind up trimming this down, just chopping the tips off of it. Get it nice and wrapped. Really, those wraps are for nothing but my sanity. So I do 2 half hitches on the top. I'm going to do 2 on the bottom. This is really just to drive home the security of this fly. And then, in order to further secure it, we'll clip that. We'll come in here, some UV resin. I just make a little bridge. I go from the head to the feathers. And I do it right on top of my half hitches. That way it kind of locks them in place and it's not like just flopping in the wind. And again, this is the part where it really becomes up to you. What is your fishery like? Where are these fish coming from? Where are they going? You know, are they heavily pressured? If they're not, you know, I'd probably leave it just as buggy as this. Because, I mean, look at that. That's a pretty big fly. But I'm actually gonna chop mine down. It worked for me last time, so hopefully it wasn't just a good day. But this is what it winds up looking like for me after I'm done. This one is actually going to a good friend of mine down in the Keys. He's a guide down there. His name is Captain Chase Masters. If you get a chance, go check him out. Fantastic fishing guide. Will put you on the bonefish. And he really does know everything about his craft. So definitely, when you get a chance, go look him up. It's the Chase Fishing Charters of Islamorada, Florida. So, and if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you think I could have tied it better, you let me know. Just drop a comment down below. And if you want to see me tie something else, you know, that would be great too. I'd be more than happy to take any of your guys' suggestions. And let me know, do you think this is the best fly to hit the Florida Keys bonefish? You guys have a good night.